It all starts with Kara Zor-El, better known as Supergirl, alongside her loyal companion, Krypto. While celebrating her birthday, she gets a message from her cousin, Clark Kent, who wishes her a happy birthday and asks when she's planning to come back. After making herself a coffee, Kara boards her ship and heads to a space bar, where she spends hours drinking, having fun, and enjoying the party. But by the end of the celebration, she's completely wiped out. Because of that, she mentions that she urgently needs the energy of a yellow sun, so she heads out into space with Krypto to soak up its radiation and recharge her powers for a while. After all, he's pretty much her only companion, and they spend almost all their time together. Meanwhile, the story takes us to the planet Holtzair, a world lit by a red sun that cancels out Kryptonian abilities. There, the feared Krem of the Yellow Hills appears alongside several members of the Brigands. His goal is to obtain the legendary swords, crafted by the family of a young girl named Ruthie, and to take her with them as well. When they arrive at the house, Krem acts with an unsettling calm. He even sits down and eats the cake the family had prepared. Ruthie's parents offer him their finest weapons, famous throughout the region for their exceptional craftsmanship. However, Krem insists on inspecting them personally. Everything seems to stay under control until Ruthie's brother steps in. Without the slightest hint of mercy, Krem kills him on the spot. He then murders the girl's parents as well, leaving Ruthie completely alone and forcing her to witness the massacre. Devastated, the young girl buries her family and swears that one day she'll get revenge on the man responsible. Meanwhile, we see Kara spending a quiet moment with Krypto. As they watch the celebration at a bar on Holtzair, she mentions that maybe they should move to that planet. Despite the red sun limiting her powers, she feels life there looks beautiful and thinks it could become a real home for the two of them. Not long after, Ruthie arrives at the same gathering. Determined to keep her promise, she gets everyone's attention and announces that she's looking for revenge against Krem of the Yellow Hills. She explains that she needs a tracker capable of finding the killer before he disappears for good. The young girl insists that she'll take him down to avenge her family and, as a reward, offers a sword forged by her father's own hands. The moment people see it, many immediately recognize its quality, since her family was famous for crafting some of the finest weapons in the galaxy. Still, most of them just laugh at her and warn her she's chasing a mission that's impossible, since someone that young doesn't stand a chance against a monster like Krem. Suddenly, a creature takes advantage of the chaos and steals the sword. Kara runs after it and demands it be returned the right way, but the thief has no intention of listening. Out there, without her powers under the red sun, Supergirl tries to take it back by force, but she ends up getting hit again and again as the creature fights to keep hold of the valuable weapon. Just when things start to look hopeless, Ruthie, who had been watching everything from inside with Krypto, decides to step in. The young girl jumps into the fight while Krypto latches onto the monster with his bites. Taking advantage of the distraction, Kara manages to recover and starts hitting the creature back until she finally brings it down. In the end, the three of them manage to get the precious sword back. After that, Kara returns the weapon to Ruthie and decides to rest. The next morning, she wakes up next to Krypto and notices one of the monster's teeth stuck in her leg. She pulls it out without much care, and shortly after, she gets a call from her cousin, Clark Kent. Clark asks her when she plans to come back, since he's worried about her. He reminds her that if she keeps drifting from planet to planet, she'll never find a place she truly belongs. But Kara replies bitterly that she doesn't have anyone anymore, no real home left. Clark tries to get her to spend more time with him and start a new life somewhere she can feel loved. But the conversation cuts off suddenly when someone knocks at his ship's door. It's Ruthie, who's come looking for her, asking for help in her revenge mission against Krem of the Yellow Hills. Kara shuts it down right away. Even though she helped her through the night, she has no intention of getting involved in someone else's personal war. But right at that moment, something unexpected happens. Krem and several members of the Brigands break into the ship and take control of the place. Krypto tries to stop them, but Krem shoots him with a strange capsule filled with an unknown substance. In a matter of seconds, the dog drops to the floor, completely paralyzed and unable to react. Desperate, Kara and Ruthie manage to escape and go looking for help. The girl brings Supergirl to a healer who, with Ruthie translating, explains what happened. According to her, Krem used a dangerous toxin known as Redimir. The poison slowly paralyzes its victim, causes unbearable suffering, and eventually leads to death unless the proper antidote is given. The situation is even worse than they thought. Only members of Krem's species have the cure, and they usually trade it only for money, information, or favors of great value. Without the antidote, the healer can't do anything at all. Krypto has barely 3 moons left. In other words, just 3 days before the poison completely takes him. Ruthie insists on going with Kara to get revenge on Krem, but Supergirl orders her to stay behind with Krypto while she goes after the space pirate to secure the antidote. And so begins a race against time, where every minute counts. At that moment, the story takes us back to the past to show how Kara met Krypto and why the animal became the most important companion in her life. Sometime later, we see Kara waiting at an interstellar transport station. When the massive space bus arrives, she boards alongside dozens of creatures from all corners of the galaxy. To her surprise, Ruthie is there as well. During the trip, the girl ends up arguing with an alien creature because of her backpack. As Kara explains, placing it in a certain way counts as a serious insult in that species' culture. But something much worse is about to happen. Suddenly, the ship is hit by a powerful red energy beam. A group of techno-pirates has intercepted the transport. Their goal is to take the fuel, the engine, and everything valuable from the passengers. The raiders storm the vehicle and start stripping everyone of their belongings. Anyone who resists gets brutally tortured. Soon they demand Kara's watch and Ruthie's sword, but Kara isn't about to let that slide. Calm as ever, she steps forward and offers them a so-called trade. She claims she wants her watch and the sword back because she's convinced they're after something she has, since she managed to take an item from them without them noticing. Then she activates her teleportation device and, in seconds, launches herself straight at the techno-pirates, kicking off a brutal fight right inside the space bus. After teleporting alongside the bus pilot, Kara asks where the nearest yellow sun is. Even though it's relatively close, the ship can't go any further, so she decides to put on a spacesuit and head out into the void to reach the sun on her own. But just as she's about to put her helmet on, one of the pirates accidentally opens the ship's airlock. Kara is thrown out into space before she can finish gearing up, left floating in the empty void. Still, she manages to reach the yellow sun's radiation just in time. The moment she absorbs its energy, her powers fully return. And now, Supergirl is an unstoppable force again. With her abilities restored, she immediately heads back to the space bus and throws out all the techno-organic raiders who had taken control of the ship. The techno-pirates try to chase her down, but Kara proves she's not just powerful, she's also far more clever than they expected. Recharged by the solar energy, she steals their ship's engine and leaves them completely stranded in space. Later, they arrive at an interplanetary station. There, Kara explains to Ruthie how her powers work. She tells her that yellow suns fuel Kryptonians, while red suns make them almost ordinary. Ruthie then asks why she spends so much time in red sun worlds, and Kara laughs, saying whiskey just tastes a lot better there. With that conversation over, they both refocus on their real mission, finding Krem of the Yellow Hills. To get information, Kara interrogates the captured pirates and threatens them until one of them finally agrees to talk. The pirate warns them to be careful, saying Krem has monstrous strength and is capable of tearing apart anyone who gets in his way. Finally, the pirates reveal important information. They explain that several members of the brigands are on the planet Bilquis, a place they've traveled to in order to find women and ensure the survival of their species. During the journey, Ruthie gets curious and asks Kara if there are others with abilities like hers. Supergirl then tells her she comes from Krypton and that she's not the only survivor of her world. She also talks about her cousin, Superman, who has exactly the same powers. Soon after, they arrive on Bilquis. The moment they land, they walk into a massive tavern filled with mercenaries, criminals, and creatures from all corners of the galaxy. There, they see Ruthie treated like an object, and Kara agrees to gamble her in exchange for information. The deal is simple. If she loses, she and Ruthie will be left at the mercy of their opponents, but if she wins, they'll tell her where to find members of the brigands. Supergirl defeats her first opponent without much trouble, but that only draws the attention of increasingly dangerous fighters. One stronger challenger steps up. The fight escalates so far that she ends up breaking his hand during the clash. Soon, the entire bar turns hostile. Dozens of warriors stand up from their seats and begin closing in around them. Seeing that things are about to blow up, Kara tells Ruthie to sit as far away as possible. Then she looks at everyone in the room and asks if they're really ready for what's coming. The answer comes in the form of a full-scale attack. What follows is a brutal bar fight. Kara cuts through the enemies with shocking efficiency, taking down one opponent after another while the music keeps playing like nothing's happening. Bottles fly through the air, tables get smashed, and fighters drop all over the place in a sequence that feels straight out of a John Wick-style action scene. When the chaos finally settles, two individuals named Bomar Vran and Harpoon Bride approach them. Both claim they're looking for someone who knows about the brigands. But before they can say much more, a figure walks in that immediately changes the mood in the room. It's Lobo, the legendary Zarnian bounty hunter, enters the tavern with his signature defiant attitude. His reputation comes first. He's practically impossible to kill, and stories about him are known across the entire galaxy. Lobo reveals he's hunting a member of the brigands connected to Krem. Ruthie tries to step forward to speak with him, but Kara orders her to stay out of it. The young girl doesn't listen and ends up going straight up to the bounty hunter. As expected, it doesn't go well. Lobo quickly gets irritated and is about to lose his patience. Kara steps in before things escalate, trying to calm him down by saying they're just two visitors from Metropolis traveling through space during a birthday celebration. Far from calming him down, the explanation only seems to annoy him even more. After exchanging a few tense words, Lobo calls them useless, makes it clear he won't help them, and eventually walks away. Harpoon warns them that staying there is way too dangerous. For their own safety, he recommends they go back to his place until things settle down. He even gives Ruthie a piece of clothing to cover herself, explaining that because of her age and the fact she's traveling alone, she's at more risk than anyone else there. He also assures them that Beaumart will come after them later. Once at the house, the conversation shifts into something much more personal. Ruthie gets curious about Earth and asks Kara what it's like living there, but Supergirl's answer starts long before she ever reached the blue planet. Kara tells her she was born on Krypton, the world that once was her home. Many years before her birth, her uncle had tried to warn Krypton's council about an impending catastrophe. According to his calculations, the planet's core was destined to collapse and destroy everything, but no one wanted to listen. While Kal-El had been sent to Earth as just a baby, some Kryptonians managed to survive thanks to a massive magnetic barrier created to preserve part of the planet. That containment field allowed a fragment of Krypton to keep existing for years after the initial disaster. It was inside that doomed world that Kara was born and raised. For a time, life managed to go on, but tragedy wasn't far behind. A strange contamination began spreading through the city of Argo. The ground itself became poisoned, and disease started to spread uncontrollably among the population. With each passing day, more people fell sick and died, including Kara's own parents. As the situation worsened, Zor-El realized there was no hope left for them. In desperation, he recovered old designs and records connected to the ship that had saved Kal-El years earlier. If his nephew had survived, maybe Kara could too. When the moment of goodbye came, Zor-El told his daughter that she represented everything he and her mother loved about their world. Her mother, weakened by illness, also made one final promise. No matter where she ended up, she had to be a good person. Soon after, she passes away. With the planet doomed and its population on the brink of extinction, Zor-El prepares the escape capsule. Before sending her away from Krypton, he reminds her that in the world she's about to reach, she will have extraordinary powers, and she must use them to protect those who cannot defend themselves. Then Kara is launched into space alongside Krypto, leaving behind everything she has ever known. After this emotional story, the narrative returns to the present. While resting in the house, Kara overhears the couple talking. According to them, one of their friends who is arriving soon has information about the whereabouts of Krem of the Yellow Hills, which is the reason she and Ruthie came here in the first place. However, she soon realizes something doesn't add up. Harpoon and Bomar explain that members of the brigands usually kidnap young girls and take them far away from their homes. Through tears, the couple admits their own daughter was one of the victims. Trying to be hospitable, they offer her tea. Kara drinks it without suspicion, but almost immediately she starts feeling strange. She realizes too late that the drink contained a substance capable of slowly paralyzing her. As she struggles to stay conscious, she asks for something to counteract the effect. Harpoon, regretful about what's happening, tries to help her by offering milk from his pet, a strange creature. Then the truth comes to light. Those parents made a desperate deal. In exchange for getting their kidnapped daughter back, they agreed to hand over two new girls to the criminals. In other words, Kara and Ruthie. Furious, Kara tries to flush the poison out of her system, just as Krem and several members of the brigands arrive to claim their merchandise. Taking advantage of the chaos, Supergirl manages to lunge at Krem and rip away a small container he's carrying. Inside is the antidote that could save Krypto's life, but the victory lasts only a few seconds. Krem responds with a brutal beating and ends up taking the antidote back before Kara can escape. Meanwhile, Ruthie is discovered, and the criminals try to drag her away by force. Kara steps in immediately, fighting several of them at once. She finally reaches Ruthie, pulls her into a tight embrace, and flies her up into the sky to get her out of danger. From that moment on, everything descends into pure chaos. The criminals' ships are filled with kidnapped girls who have been forced to go with them against their will. Just when everything seems lost, an unexpected ally arrives. Lobo enters the fight. The ruthless bounty hunter starts freeing the prisoners while unleashing a massacre among Krem's henchmen. At the same time, Kara battles anyone she crosses paths with as she tries to recover Krypto's antidote. In the middle of the battle, Sarna Vran, the daughter of the couple who betrayed Kara, tries to escape by climbing one of the massive nearby structures, but her life is in danger. Krem goes after her. On the other side, Ruthie decides to follow the villain, armed with her sword, convinced that the moment has finally come to avenge her family. But Krem is about to find her, and only Kara's quick intervention prevents the girl from being captured. Shortly after, Krem reaches the missing child. Her parents also arrive, believing they'll finally be reunited as a family. But Krem shows no mercy. He brutally kills all three of them, once again proving why he's considered one of the most ruthless beings in the entire galaxy, and then escapes. Afterwards, Ruthie yells at Kara, saying she almost had Krem, and that because of her, she couldn't kill him. But Kara tells her she won't allow it, because she would have to carry that burden for the rest of her life. They argue, and Kara flies off into space to let off steam, while Krypto is still shown to be in very poor condition. Meanwhile, Kara forces a creature working for Krem to tell her where to find him, or she'll kill him. She's then taken to the planet Barrington. However, we learn that this planet has a green sun, and as soon as she arrives, Kara begins to weaken and eventually collapses, since green radiation affects her severely. Just before the ship leaves, Ruthie falls as well. She had secretly boarded it to follow Kara. Seeing Supergirl on the ground, she helps her and looks for a place to take shelter. When Kara regains consciousness, we see a flashback from the past. Clark is shown finding Kara, but she still doesn't understand Earth's language. Clark shows her many things about her new home and tries to explain her powers, but Kara can barely grasp any of it. She also struggles to adjust to her new life, spending her time blasting music while Krypto plays around and causes chaos everywhere. Back in the present, Kara explains to Ruthie that the members of the Brigands knew this planet was positioned between two suns, one yellow and one green, and that the green sun's radiation could kill her. Ruthie found her suit and brought it to her, but Kara refuses to wear it. She says it's just a suit and thinks about Krypto again. What worries her most is not being able to say goodbye to him. Later, Ruthie goes out to find some water, but she's discovered and knocked unconscious. When she wakes up, she finds herself locked inside one of the brigands' cages. As she tries to escape, she realizes Lobo is there too. He warns her that the tips of the bars are poisoned. Just then, a member of the brigands arrives, saying that a dead Kryptonian would be a major achievement. Hearing this, they notify Krem, who appears in front of the cage. He tells Ruthie that her friend is in trouble since the green sun is deadly to Kryptonians. Krem then offers her a deal. If she tells him where Kara is, he won't kill her, but Ruthie simply spits in his face. Furious, Krem leaves, ordering that she be killed before the day is over. Ruthie then starts screaming that she'll tell them where her friend is and demands to be taken to Krem. As she's being transported, she manages to take down her guard and free Lobo. Now the two of them are going after Krem and the rest of the brigands. But first, Ruthie retrieves her sword. Meanwhile, Kara remembers her father's words, as well as Clark's advice. Then a new day begins, and the yellow sun rises again. At the same time, Ruthie is found by members of the brigands, and Krem once again takes her sword away. But right at that moment, Kara shows up. She immediately frees Ruthie and throws herself at Krem, confronting him for shooting Krypto. Lobo also joins the fight, but the enemies use several kryptonite capsules to weaken Supergirl. Krem enjoys watching Kara suffer. He even tells her he loves seeing her cry and knows exactly how much it must hurt her. Then he orders Briand, one of his men, to kill her. But Lobo suddenly appears and cuts Briand's head off. Meanwhile, Kara manages to pull out the kryptonite capsules one by one. After that, Lobo throws throws Krem out of the ship to give Ruthie a chance at revenge. However, the villain manages to grab onto the same rope Ruthie is hanging from, while Kara continues fighting the rest of the brigands. In the end, the ship crashes into a mountain. Kara falls into the sea, and several enemies begin chasing her. Ruthie runs away from the explosion, while Krem goes after her. Kara defeats the brigands chasing her, climbs out of the water, and recharges under the yellow sun's energy once again. From a distance, she sees Ruthie and rushes to help her, while Krem is buried under debris from the crash, but survives and rises from the wreckage. While Kara leaves Ruthie alone to rescue the women still trapped in the dungeons, the girl is cornered by several members of the brigands. With no other choice, she draws her sword and prepares to fight. On the other side, Kara manages to free the prisoners just as Ruthie is about to face Krem head-on. Then Kara arrives and drags Krem away, beating him as she goes. After that, Supergirl takes down all the brigands who had Ruthie surrounded, using her powers and skills to eliminate each one of them. Ruthie then steps toward Krem, ready to kill him, but Kara tells her she must not, because her heart is still good and pure. Ruthie begins to remember her family and all the good moments she shared with them, and she decides to spare him. Kara embraces her and leads her away from there. Now Kara approaches Krem herself. She stabs him once for what he did to Krypto, and again for all the pain he caused Ruthie. Then she recovers the antidote under Lobo's gaze, who watches everything from a distance. Later, Kara brings the antidote to Krypto and injects it. Slowly, Krypto becomes a healthy, energetic dog again. The next day, it's time to say goodbye. Ruthie will live with her uncles and believes she'll follow in her father's footsteps, becoming a weapons maker. Meanwhile, Kara says she's done wasting time in bars. They share a warm farewell, though before parting, Kara invites Ruthie to stay a few more days on her ship so they can properly finish celebrating her birthday. After those days, Kara returns to Earth with Krypto. There, she reunites with her cousin Clark, who tells her he always needs her help, but she's never around. Kara replies that this time will be different because she plans to stay for a while. And so, alongside Clark and Krypto, Kara finally feels happy to be home again. And that's where this story ends. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next videos. See you in the next one.